Usually what happens to people who lose weight is they tend to quit primarily because they lack motivation and drive to continue never-ending marathon. Main reasons for that are poor mindset from the beginning with no dedication and planning, unrealistic expectations with weight loss. If they include workout, it is not enjoyable, and as soon as they decide to quit, there is no accountability or consequences. And because of that, almost more than 50% of people with weight loss program tend to give up. They give up because it's harder and harder to lose fat with every pound of fat they lose, and even more so below 15 to 20% of body fat. The main reason is that our bodies adapt and start to heavily conserve energy. The body actually thinks we are dying, so it tries to work on as low energy levels possible. Body goes into state of lower metabolism and thermogenesis, known as heat production. Sizes of our fat cells decrease. We achieve lower basal lipolysis or lower fat degradation and rise in leptin hormone levels, which substantially stimulates appetite. So in today's video part 1 series, we're going to learn how to efficiently lose fat with following 4 major steps along the way. So before we get to that, I have to emphasize that the goal of our fat loss plan is to lose fat while preserving muscle. The fat our bodies will use will be derived from fatty acids in fat tissue, intramuscular triglycerides, cholesterol, and dietary fat. These sources of fat contribute to fatty acid oxidation, known as fat burning. To be precise, to lose 1 pound of fat, you will have to lose whopping 3,500 calories. So step number 1 is a strict diet plan and reducing your calorie intake. Following a correct diet, you must ensure to track your essential micronutrient levels such as carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, which can have a significant impact on weight loss. It goes without saying you should avoid the obvious ones such as saturated fats, sugars, excessive amounts of simple carbs like pasta, white bread, all sorts of snacks, and alcohol. Replace those with sufficient water hydration, lean proteins, unsaturated fats, and complex carbs. According to systematic review article of Stephen D. Anton, for optimal muscle growth and fat loss, your diet of choice should be a low-carb diet with daily micronutrient levels focused on low spectrum as following. For micronutrient carb levels, I would recommend to stick around lower intakes to set our daily goal around 100 grams and below. And we can be fairly generous also with proteins, leaning towards higher intakes of spectrum, especially if we are doing regular exercise and want to gain muscle mass while losing fat. A study by Philip S.M. showed that athletes who lost the least amount of muscle mass while cutting calories consumed the most protein, from 2.5 to 2.6 grams per kilogram of body weight. In this next part of step 1, we will focus on necessary calorie intake restriction and appetite. For example, let's take an average man and woman with respectful amount of body fat who aren't doing any prolonged exercise. Theoretically, in order to maintain their weight, men should be able to consume 2,500 calories and women 2,000 calories per day without gaining or losing any weight. So in order to lose 1 pound of fat, men should not consume more than 2,000 calories and women 1,500 calories to reach the weekly number of 3,500. However, according to Harvard Medical School, women should not consume less than 1,200 and men should not consume less than 1,500 calories per day, so that puts recommended window for women safely between 1,200 and 1,500 and for men between 1,500 and 1,800. If we add moderate to strenuous daily activities, all would require an additional 200 to 600 calories per day or more. As we reduce calorie intake and follow our diet, we induce spikes in hormones such as leptin and adiponectin. Both enhance your muscle's ability to use carbohydrates for energy, boost your metabolism, increase the rate in which your body breaks down fat, and lower your appetite. To maximize sensitivity, get adequate sleep and pack your diet full of antioxidants. That brings us to the next part of step 1, which is getting our body into state of ketosis. To achieve that, we would choose to opt in keto diet, which is low in carbohydrates, rich in proteins and especially fats, which would consist more than 65% of our diet. Because of carb shortage, our bodies would eventually become low on blood sugar, forced to start breaking down stored fat into molecules called ketone bodies. Ketosis would promote our bodies to use ketones instead of glycogen as alternate source of energy. The shift from using circulating glucose to breaking down stored fat as a source of energy usually happens over 2 to 7 days of eating fewer than 20 to 50 grams of carbohydrates per day, depending on each individual. For integrating keto into your weight loss program and getting into ketosis, you would want to achieve at least slight nutritional ketosis of ketone blood levels to have any effect. However, while I say it's optional because the selection of keto diet and exercise might not be as efficient as other diets of choice. Keto diet can limit your exercise performance during high-intensity interval training, leaving muscles deprived of glucose from 10 seconds to 2 minutes because of no carbs to extract glycogen and achieve optimal muscular activity. The main source of power in blood would be ketones. Therefore, if you would choose a workout program with keto diet, I would recommend including 1 to 2 carb refeeding days every week using cyclic keto diet to refuel muscle glycogen and avoid extra muscle loss. Second major step towards efficient fat loss is intermittent fasting. A current study by Ruth E. Patterson highlights the overwhelming benefits on efficiency of weight loss using fasting diets. The emphasis was given on 3 types of fast regimens: complete alternate day fasting, modified fasting regimen, and time-restricted fast. In majority of cases, all participants during 22-day trial were experiencing significant weight loss while doing no exercise. They had decreases in low-density lipoproteins, aka LDLs, and drops in blood insulin levels. The important factor with fasting and optimizing weight and fat loss is that we want to achieve low insulin levels. When there is shortage of glucose, our bodies start to react directly to glucagon and epinephrine levels through cortisol to stimulate beta-adrenal receptors and PPAR to promote fat mobilization and oxidation. In the fasted state, our bodies go also through a process known as autophagy or self-eating, which is the body's natural ability to detox and recycle cells that are no longer functioning properly, and simultaneously affecting molecular gene expression, synaptogenesis, and protein stability. To understand each of 3 diets, we will shortly summarize how to approach each one of them. In the complete alternate day fasting, the name already tells us that during fasting days we abstain from all food sources, being allowed only to drink water and non-caloric beverages. This fast occurs every other day, and on the remaining days we are allowed to eat and drink normally. Modified fasting type of diet uses 5 to 2 days ratio method where we consume food normally for 5 days and 2 days with major caloric restriction. For optimal fat loss, fasting days should be non-consecutive, for example fast during Monday and again on Friday. During fasting days, you must not consume more than 500 calories or 20 to 25% of your body energy requirements. However, currently the most popular method to lose weight with fasting involves not eating for a period of time followed by eating within feeding windows. This diet usually involves using 14 to 16 hour fasted state and 8 to 10 hour feeding window. To ultimately maximize fat loss and mobilization, fasting regimens should be done together with high-intensity interval training, which we will talk about next.